Hey, what's up YouTube? I've got a banger for y'all. Okay, I'm sorry, I won't say that again in any other video. I've got what you'd call a nice video plan for today. So a few weeks ago, I made a video making a ring out of some Timascus, and Alpha Knife Supply, they're the ones who made the Timascus for that, and they liked the video I made, and so they sent me this new pattern that they have. It's called Shockwave, and you'll see the whole idea behind it is that it has a really interesting side pattern. So I've got this other piece here. This is cool for like knife handles and things like that. But if you looked at the cross section, it's not that interesting. So for a ring, it's not going to give you very good results. They do have rods of Damascus that they twist, and that's what the first video was on. And those are really cool, but this just gives you another option to that. So it's called Shockwave. It's got this really interesting pattern in it. You'll see how it looks. But let's go ahead and get started. So now I just need to mount this in my lathe jaws here. And then I'll be using, this is a boring lathe cutter here. And so that's literally what it's for. It bores out the inside. So we're gonna clean that up, make it super smooth, and bring it up to the proper ring size we're going for. Okay, so I've successfully hollowed out the inside here. We've left it completely flat in there. If we were to pass this off as a ring right now, it'd be super uncomfortable. So we will be rounding off those edges when we are done with the outside to make it a comfortable ring. Now the next step will be to mount this on the ring mandrel I've got here. And then this expands by tightening this screw in here. It takes those jaws this has and expands them like that. Okay, so now I've got the width that I want. I'm going to go ahead and use this lathe cutter to add the bevels. So I'll use this one to do it on the left side here, but then I will need to switch my lathe cutter out to this one, and that will be to form the bevel on the right side of the Okay, so we've got the bevels all cut, and check this out. You can see the swirls in the Timascus already. They're not very noticeable, but you can see a little bit of that color difference there. But once we hit that with the blowtorch, it's going to look way better. But the next step we'll do will be sanding with the Dremel here. I'm just going to carefully do this surface, and then I'll do the bevels as well. I'm going to be very careful because I don't want to round the bevels too much. I want it to have a really clean, sharp look to it. Okay, now I'm going to hit it with a few different levels of sandpaper, and that'll be to shine up the surface a little bit. Again, I want to be very careful not to upset the bevels. I don't want to round them out, so I'm going to be careful while I'm sanding. And one technique you'll see me do is I will use, this is a lathe cutter, but it's just a flat piece of metal is all I need it for. And I'll put the piece of sandpaper against it and match it with the bevel. That's one technique you can use that gets you really nice results. It lets you polish it without ruining any of the edges. Okay, now you can see we've got a really nice smooth finish on here, and I was able to keep those bevels intact. You can see on the video for the last few grits of sandpaper, I didn't use the lathe bit to keep it square with everything, and that's because it's such a high level of grit that it's not really removing much material. So once I get to that point, I'm able to skip that step, makes it a little bit faster. Alright, here is the ring. It's pure titanium, so this is actually surprisingly lightweight. You can see we're almost there. Just need to smooth out the inside there because that's a really sharp, harsh edge. So to round out the edge, I'm just going to be using a Dremel on this one. I could use a lathe cutter and go in and cut bevels on it and all that, but I just want to put a nice little curve on the edge, make it comfortable to wear. That's the goal here. And once I get done with the Dremel, I'm going to switch it back over to sandpaper, and I'll do the same level of polish on the inside as I did on the outside. That'll just keep everything consistent throughout the whole ring. Got that nice and centered. Now this is just going to be really straightforward. Just grabbing the Dremel, going to round this thing out. Alright, that's one side down. I'm going to flip it back over because if I don't, I'll miss this very far edge over here. So this will be a lot faster than the first time. This is just to get this specific area. Alright, we are ready to move on to the final and, in my opinion, coolest step, which is the heat treating. We'll be able to get some really cool blues and purples and amber colors to appear on the titanium. So that'll be really cool. Okay, so I've got a bit of a makeshift setup here. I've literally just got two vices with a wire stuck in between the two. And I've got the ring ready here. And this is a very important step. I'm going to be cleaning it with alcohol and this brand new paper towel. From this point on, I will not touch it with my fingers directly. I'll just use the paper towel, because if I get any oils on it, it'll end up showing up. I've even one time, I made a ring, heat anodized it, took it out, and I could see my fingerprint right on it in the heat anodization, which, I mean, it was kind of cool, but not what I'm going for here. So I've got this cleaned off very thoroughly. Don't want it to touch any of this stuff, like this greasy vise, anything like that. I have cleaned this wire, so that shouldn't be an issue. And the design I've got with this whole wire setup is I want some even heating on this. The more even I can make it, obviously the more even the coloring will be, which sometimes, I don't know, it can be cool to have some unevenness to it. You can have some more amber sections, you can have more blue in some of the other areas. So that can be cool, but right now I'm just going to be doing it as even as I can on this. Let me get the camera adjusted here. And it'll be fairly straightforward. Okay, the ring is on here, ready to go. I've triple checked. I made sure I didn't touch it with my fingers. It should be super clean. I made sure there's no coating on this wire. I did a flame test on it, and I also cleaned it off. And now I've just got a standard blowtorch here, and we are just going to hit this with the heat. I'll be rotating it as I go, so that I don't heat a certain area too much. And to do that, I'll just mess with the wire a little bit. Alright, if I could get this to stop wiggling. The flame keeps it wiggling all over the place, so sorry, it's some kind of bad footage for you. Now you can't see the color super well just because of the lighting that's going on, but this looks really good. I actually love the way this pattern turned out. Now I just need to get it to cool down. You can see I've got alcohol right here. When I shoot it at it, it just doesn't even sizzle or anything. It instantly creates a layer of evaporated alcohol and it just falls right off. It is that hot. You can see some amber in there. You got purple as well as blue. There's a lot of blue right here. I'll go take this to the light box as soon as I'm done here, and we'll get some really good footage of it. Alright everyone, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you really enjoyed it. If you're interested in this ring and you want to purchase one, you can check it out on my website. I've also got a whole bunch of other rings on there. I make them out of all sorts of exotic materials, so there'll be a link to that in the description, as well as a link to Alpha Knife Supply. You'll see it on there. Also, make sure to follow me on Instagram. I post there almost daily, and it's a really cool place that I'm able to interact with you guys a lot better than I am here on YouTube. Like I've said before, I've got over 200,000 subscribers here and less than 30,000 followers on Instagram. So I'm able to reply to almost everyone there. I just love using Instagram to interact with you guys, and I have a lot of fun there. So follow me there, and I will see you in the next video.